it's Jess from Pieces of Books, and today I'm here with my April TBR. I am reading a lot in March. I am currently on spring break, and then I'm working from home. I am a high school English teacher, so I won't be that busy at home. I do have some meetings set up. I do have to keep on checking on kids, but I'm gonna have more time on my hands in April. So far, we are only going through April 6th of this no school from home kind of thing, but I'm guessing it's gonna be pushed back because all of our colleges now are all online through the semester, and I know other states have already done that, so we'll see what happens. But I have like 12 books to share with you I want to get to. I know I'm gonna read more than this. I have read a lot in March, so I expect to read more in April as well. So I'll go ahead and get to it. I have a lot of different genres, and the first one I want to get to is Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. I got this from the Rib Bodice, and it's one of those like flimsy mass markets, which are my favorites because they're super easy to read without cracking the spine. But I don't know much about this. It's historical romance. I know Lacey from Book Lovers for Life loves this, and it is a historical romance. I think I said that. And the main character is trying to help her brother from being ruined. And she asked this guy for help, and that's the guy I think she falls in love with. So I know Lacey loves it, so I wanted to read it. The next book I hope to get to is Blood Fever by Karen Marie Moning. This is book 2 in the Dark Fever series. I don't know, I don't know what this series is actually called. I really enjoy book 1, and after reading House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas, I really want a good urban fantasy right now, and this one, the first book of this series, really reminded me of Sarah J Maas's book, so I want to get back into that world and get some of the romance that people have promised me happens later on, because in the first book there's like no romance, but I heard there is between the two people, so I hope to read this month. If you can't tell, I'm on a huge fantasy kick after reading Sarah J Maas's new book, so I really want to get to A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kempner. This is book 2 to A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely at the beginning of March, and I absolutely loved it, especially the character that this follows. I loved his character in book 1, and I just loved the book. I devoured it in a day. I think I read like 400 pages of it in one day because I had read 100 of it the previous day. I could not put it down. The romance was so good. I'm so excited to see who this romance is with this one, and I really want to read it this month. It's Miss Lily. Here, do you want me to pick you up? Oh, she is getting so heavy. You guys want to say hi to Lily? It's Miss Lily. She's wagging her tail, but I can't show that to you. Okay. Thank you for being such a good girl. She's not growing anymore, but she feels heavy. Normally when she comes in, I'm on the ground, so you guys can see her in the background, but I decided to get everything set up today. But the next book I hope to read is The Death of Mrs. Westway by Ruth Ware. I really want to read a couple thrillers this month, and I know Ruth Ware is a favorite of everybody's. I read Turn of the Key, and it was okay. I gave it 3 stars, but I heard this one, people either love it or don't, so I recently got it from Half Price Books, and I want to read it. So I don't know what this is about. I think it's a woman died. I don't know. I like to go into my thrillers not knowing really anything, so there you go. The next 2 I want to read because they're from the same author, and the first one is Echoes of Time by Callie Reed. This is book 3 in the Surviving Trace series. This is time traveling romance. Book 2 ended on a huge cliffhanger, and I still haven't gotten around to reading book 3. I don't know why, but I want to read this because our pick for our Ravished by Romance book club that I run with Lacey and Sarah is going to be King of South by Callie Reed. This came out in March, I think. I don't remember if it came out in March or not, but it is the side character in this series gets his own book, so I don't want anything to spoil me if I read this. I think this is a standalone, but it could spoil something in this book, so I want to read this so then I can get to this. We all love Callie Reed so much. I've read it because of Lacey, I believe, and so I don't know much about this. I don't know if this has actual time travel or not in it, or if it's just set in the early 1900s. It's Livingston, who is the brother of Etienne in the first book, so I'm very excited to read his book and talk about it during our live show, which is going to be at the end of April. Now we're getting into some arcs, so I think this one's like on my TBR every month, and it comes out in April, so I have to read it. And that is the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez. This is book 2 to the Friend Zone, which I really enjoyed. And this one is about a character from book 1. I can't tell you too much about her because it spoils book 1, but there's a musician, and he is, I think, in Australia, and she finds his dog, and so he wants his dog back, and she's like, why are you leaving your dog alone? And I think that they have a romance. So you just saw I have 2 dogs. I love romances that have to do with dogs, so I'm excited to read this. Then is another arc that I have that I also just got a finished copy of, and that is Not That Kind of Guy by Andy J. Christopher. This one I'm wary of because I DNF'd Andy J. Christopher's first book that she came out with last year. I like read 20 pages and I just couldn't I couldn't, and I know a lot of people really didn't like it, and so hopefully the characters in this are better, because I don't think I necessarily didn't like the writing. It's just like the characters were obnoxious, and like what they talked about was obnoxious. So this one is an office romance. She's the guy's boss, but I think he's like an intern or something, and he ends up not being her employee anymore, and they go to Vegas, and they might get married. I don't know, but I want to read this month. I might get to this at the very end of March, I don't know, but I really need to read We Are the Wildcats by Siobhan Vivian. I was sent this arc from Simon Teen, and this one comes out on the 31st, I think, and it's about a group of girls on a field hockey team, and like I think it might take place over one night at a team sleepover. They don't get along with their coach, and they do something, I don't know. It's more like one of those girl gang, girl power kind of books, and not necessarily about them being a field hockey team. I was on a bunch of softball teams growing up, and I played softball all through high school. I was on the school team and a travel team, and so I loved being part of a team. I loved my teammates, and there's just that bond you have with your teammates, and so I feel like this will be very nostalgic for me, and I'm excited to read it. The next one I hope to read is an arc I'm very excited for, and that is Chasing Lucky by Jen Bennett. This one sounds so good, and I just realized a part of the plot I didn't know before. So our main character has a single mom, and she travels a lot, and she has returned back to her hometown that she grew up in to run the family bookstore. I didn't know that was part of it, so I didn't know there's a bookstore involved. And she runs into the town's bad boy, who was her childhood best friend, and she's determined, I think, to go to college across the country, and I think that might, like, those plans might be changed because of him, I don't know, or questioned because of her falling in love. I love Jen Bennett, so I'm very excited to read this. And the last book I have is an arc, and it sounds super cute. It's 10 Things I Hate About Pinky by Sandia Manon. I never know if I'm saying that right. This one is about Pinky, who is really like a social activist. She loves having causes, and she likes making her parents uncomfortable because of her eccentric ways. And then we have this guy who is just buttoned up, and he schedules everything, and he's Harvard bound, and she's determined to fake date him. So this sounds really fun. I love a fake dating trope, and I'm excited to read a new one from this author. And that is my April TBR. Of course, I'm going to have some audiobooks and ebooks sprinkled in there, and probably pick up something that strikes my mood, or if I do some sort of fun video. We'll see, but that's just the primary books that I want to read. Let me know down below what you plan on reading, or if you've read any of these and what your thoughts were. I would love to hear. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.